ego is trying so hard to get a response out of me. And it has, at many points, succeeded today and over the past several days. Succeeded in convincing me to follow it, to follow the thought, to try to chase it down and wrangle it, to give it importance and power, to care about it, to try to control it, to think that it means something. And I had forgotten how it operates by injecting fear, the sensation of panic and anxiety. It tries to hook. A thought will arise, and that sense of panic comes up because it's trying to get you to think that it matters. It's trying to convince you, it's trying to convince me to follow that thought. It wants my attention because my attention is my energy. And it wants to siphon that energy. It is like a parasite. And it knows just how to provoke. Just what kind of tactics to use, manipulation tactics, fear tactics, as always, to try and coerce me, trick me into following it, into feeding it, into believing that it is myself, and so taking those thoughts on as mine and letting them carry me away round and round in circles. It's endless. There is nowhere that they go. There is no resolution to those thoughts, and that's one of the tricks, is the thought that says, if I just think this, it'll stop. I can think my way out of this. Or I have to get to the bottom of this. That's a big one. Let's get to the bottom of this. Oh, there's no bottom. There's no bottom there. That's a trick. It's a tactic. It's a ploy. The con artist in my head. It's very clever. Yeah, it's got it all worked out. Identifies something that is cared about, something that is desired, something that evokes an emotional response, and then uses that subject matter in some form, twists it around to entice, to entrap, to lure me into following it, identifying with it, allowing it to lead me away like the Pied Piper, just hypnotized. And there's nothing over there. There is only more disturbance and pain and fear and anxiety and those things. There's only more of that because it's a hall of mirrors. It doesn't want an end to the anxiety. The anxiety is convincing me to follow it. That's what it's using. It uses that as a tool to try and trick me. And it's effective. It's highly effective. Shadow, pain body, ego uses anxiety on Allie. It is super effective. But in this moment, I'm seeing it more clearly than I have in a couple of days, and I've been swinging back and forth around this. Was really down in it, and I can feel, it's still very powerfully calling. It is doing its damnedest, and it is everything I can do to just sit here and look at it and not follow the thoughts, because I'm so tired of thinking. I'm so tired of feeling anxious, and I know that thinking the thoughts is fueling the anxiety. That's, again, how it works. It's this endless cycle. I've been on the train. I want to get off the train. I am too fucking tired to stay on that. I'm sick of it. And like always, that is what the perpetuation of suffering within ourselves drives us to, is to eventually getting fucking sick of this shit, seeing what's happening, that I am fueling it, that I am perpetuating this cycle by allowing the thoughts to convince me that I need to think them, that I need to follow them, that there's something over there for me, there's some benefit, there's a release of anxiety, there's some glittery, shiny thing. But there is none of that. There's none of that. I am tired of this. I don't desire to follow the thought anymore. I don't want to feel like this anymore, and I know there's this fine line, again, between resistance of what is and the realization that I've been perpetuating it, I've been attaching to it and just dropping it, saying I am not doing that anymore. I am going to stand here. So, how am I standing here? I'm not resisting the thoughts, I'm just not following them. I'm recognizing that anxiety is not an emotion. It's a sensation, it's an experience. It doesn't actually mean anything. I know this, I've known this. I forget all the fucking time. Maybe one of these days I'll stop forgetting. Maybe. Anxiety is meaningless. It is the attempt of something within ego to get me to follow it so that it can be fed. That's it. That's it. That's all that means. That's the end of that story. I can see that and then just choose not to participate. I can just choose to hold that in my awareness and stay right here with all the sensation that ego is injecting me with, and saying, I accept the sensation. I accept this sensation because the only way out is through. Ultimately, anyway. You're trying to trick me by saying I can escape this discomfort, the discomfort of the feeling of anxiety, by thinking, but in thinking there is only more anxiety generated. So I will take this dose, thank you very much, and I will just swallow it. I'll just sit in this instead of trying to flee from it and only miring myself in it more. That's what it is. That is Eight of Swords energy, and it's not pleasant, and it is not terribly easy to unwind oneself from, but it is possible. You can't talk somebody else out of it. We have to do it for ourselves. To reach that place where we're tired tired of feeling trapped and realizing we have all the power, we have the key. All we gotta do is realize we've been running in circles. The exit is not out there, it's right here. It's in standing still. It's in saying, nope, I'm not gonna go over there anymore. I am not gonna follow the thought. I don't care what it is. I don't care what intensity of fear it injects me with. I can see how it is like setting off a firecracker. Ego is trying to get a reaction. That's what it wants. Again, it's a lure. And it's like dropping the bait, which is the thought, the injection of fearful sensation, that whatever it is, the tension in the stomach dropping, nausea, tightness in the chest, shortness of breath, heart pounding, whatever it is, it drops the bait of that sensation. And it is almost like setting off a firecracker, or, just tapping somebody on the shoulder, any type of thing to get your attention, and then the second you turn around, it goes, it went that way, come with me, I saw who did that to you, we're gonna go get them. It's just immediately trying to trick you into following it, to have that lapse in your consciousness, your awareness, saying, yeah, so it wasn't me who pulled the chair out from under you, but I saw who did it. Let's go get him. Right over, I'll lead you straight to him. And hours, days, months later, you're wandering, still going, where? We've just gone deeper and deeper into the woods, and ego still is like, yep, they're this way. I know, it's crazy how far they ran, and that there aren't any tracks. I mean, clearly they're professionals. They've done this before, and we will be the ones to catch this miscreant and bring them to justice. We'll solve this. We're going to be the big heroes. It's just a little further, I know it is. And you're exhausted, and finally you reach the point where you just give up and say, you know what, I don't fucking care anymore. I don't care. I'm too tired to care. And of course, typically by then, well, the egoic entity has feasted, which is a part of why you're so tired, feasted on your energy. So it's all right with letting you slip off the hook at that point. Doesn't need anything more for the minute it's satiated. But it'll be back. It'll be back. Every trick in the book, man, calls itself a problem. That's the big one. It really wants to be taken seriously, because if it can get you to take it seriously, it can get you to follow it. If you think it's serious, if you think it's a big deal, oh, we got to do something about this, then that's going to trick you into following it, into going down that line of thinking. That's a part of the hook. If something feels serious, it's all ego. It's all ego. The soul is never serious. Never, not for one single fucking second. Seriousness is illness. Spirituality is laughter. Spirituality is joy. The soul, self, God is always laughing, as Osho had spoken. Everything is a joke. Always joking. Always making jokes. Surefire way to tell the difference, but man, can it be tough in the moment. feeling that seriousness. Well, what about this time? What about this one? This one feels big. This one feels heavy. This one feels like I maybe, I don't know, just to be sure, I better go over there. No, that's fear, seriousness, manipulation of egoic identity, entity. The soul will never trick you into anything. The soul will never coerce you. It'll never explain itself. It just points and smiles and laughs. That's what the soul does. So the best thing I can do is, in witnessing ego trying to pull me, trying to hook me, trying to suck me down this black hole, rabbit hole, is to point and smile and laugh at it. Not in a mean way. That's not it. That's not what the soul does. It's just in a, look at that. Huh. Look at that. In an amused way. Would you look at that? That's a thing that's happening. Silly ego, sweet ego, goofy, adorable, lovable. Can I paint it? Can I... Oh, it's making me think of the, shit, what is it in Harry Potter? Dementors? It's not Dementors. Is it? The thing that takes the shape of your greatest fear, but they learn to combat it by then making that fear into something goofy, something hilarious. Like a giant spider, except it's wearing roller skates, right? And now it can't keep itself up because it's covered in roller skates. So take that thought and ego and its big, scary, imposing countenance and just throw some glitter on it. Throw some rainbow, sparkly fucking glitter. Maybe a pink boa. Put it in heels. I mean, really, like, ridiculously tall heels. You know, like, maybe stiletto platform kind of thing going on. I mean, give it some pom-poms. Give it a chicken costume. Whatever that thought is, decorate it. One of those big inflatable dinosaur things. God, I love those. I've always wanted one of those. I've always wanted the giant inflatable T-Rex costume. Maybe that's what ego gets to wear when it's sitting there trying to trick me. Trying to be all serious and say, we gotta figure this out. If I can just introduce that into my awareness. Play, levity, humor. Like drawing a little mustache on it, and it's going, what are you laughing at? Why aren't you taking me seriously? This is serious. Yeah, sure it is. But in my perception, and I'm over here, you're over there, I can see. You've been trying to project this weight onto me. Guess what I'm projecting onto you, ego? Levity. I can experience the projection of density, of gravity, right? Weight, seriousness, that ego tries to cast on me, and I can see it as something light. And automatically, that makes what it's trying to do less dense. It can't push density on me if I'm not perceiving it as dense. I like that. If what ego wants is to weigh me down with low vibration, which is seriousness, right? Again, weightiness, gravity, density, then what's my response? First of all, not to follow it, but second of all, and not following it means not accepting that projection, essentially. But that's just one step. I want to transmute it. I want to play with it. It's trying to provoke me with fear. I'm going to make fear feel funny. I'm going to see that this big, scary lion is really just a little kitty cat. I'm going to pull the curtain back on the mighty, powerful Wizard of Oz and see it's just a weird looking guy with a big head. What? On a little stool? That's all that's back there. That's all ego is. It's not got any power over me. Yeah. I'm gonna put ego in a chicken costume, in a sparkly sequin dress. Because that's what the soul is doing. That's my power, the power of perspective, and that is alignment with the soul to find a way to laugh. I want to laugh in amusement, again, not mockery. In amusement, in play, playfulness, joviality, fun, ease, light, those kinds of words, those kinds of feelings. How do I evoke that? By introducing something goofy into my perception. Ego wants me to feel serious and get serious about shit so that it can trick me into following it. That's not so serious. That's not a problem. That's a joke. It's playing a practical joke on me. There it is. Good one, ego. You almost got me with the buzzer in the hand. With the exploding ink gum that turns your mouth black. It's just a practical joke. And I can't just laugh at it. I can see that it wants me to take it seriously. So I'm going to make its wanting for me to take it seriously into something that is not serious. That's just a big, silly goof. It's just goofing. We're just goofing. I really want to play with this. Make the voice of ego into something silly. Make it all high-pitched and squeaky. What if the serious thoughts in my head as they're trying to convince me to follow them suddenly just get really high-pitched? What if that's the voice I hear in my head? But what are we gonna do about this? How do we handle this situation? What happens? What if? What if? Well, that is amusing to me, and I feel significantly lighter for having followed this exploration, explored this, played with this. I do not accept the projection of density. I'm tired of it. I went back to the place of generating resistance in myself and generating suffering. And gosh, is it exhausting. Gosh, is it exhausting. I'm willing to give up thinking. I would like to give up thinking. There's a part of me that's unwilling. Oh, most certainly. The part that wants to stay alive because it's fed by thinking. It goes, whoa, no. You don't want that. We don't want that. That sounds like a bad idea, man. Now I'm hearing it as Shaggy. Like, Zoinks, I don't know if I want to go there. And that's goofy too. Yep, it's just all these silly little characters. That attach to me. And they want me to attach back, because that's the only way the energy siphoning can happen. There has to be permission. There has to be a mutual attaching. So they can hang around, and they do, but unless they convince me to attach to them, they can't get the attention, they can't get the energy, they can't get fed, and they get hungry, and they get snippy. And more desperate. And I suspect because I had starved this for a significant period of time, it was waiting. It was biding its time for a moment when something occurred in my life that distracted me, that took enough of my focus, my energy, that it could sneak in and launch a full-scale attack. Really convinced me. Something that it could piggyback on and Trojan horse its way back into my energy field, back into convincing me to identify with it as it, and suckle my juices. Because it sure likes to do that. Nope. Knew there was another reason that I finally felt compelled to buy one of these. For clearer vision, seeing what's happening with my energy. Yep, I've had a parasite. Which is a part of self. I mean, there's nothing that's not self. This is not a... Again, it's all a game. It's all a game. It's a challenge that encourages one, by its challenging, to become more conscious, to become more aware. Without that challenge, without that test, without that opposition, sort of, which is illusion because we're all on the same side, actually. We're all working for the expansion and the growth of self, the evolution of consciousness. This is just a part of that. It is the opponent that volunteers. You're working together, you're on the same team, but it's the part of you that stands up and says, I will oppose you in order to test your strength, in order for you to grow in this, in your awareness, in your resilience, in your discernment, in your ability to become conscious of what's happening with your energy internally and to stand your ground. I'm going to push you so that you know how to stand in your energy and maintain it. How not to be toppled over, how not to be taken over, how not to have the wool pulled over your eyes, so you have the opportunity to train your perspective, because your perspective is your power. And I want to help you grow that power. So let me play the role of that which is opposing you, that which appears to be the adversary. That's what that means, right? That's what the word Satan means. The adversary, not the enemy, not the bad guy. Adversary, it's a very specific word, the one who has challenged you. And specifically in a sort of sparring context. We're sparring. There's not a real fight happening here. There are no real stakes. There's no real risk. This is just testing ourselves, testing our mettle. We're sparring, again, in order to practice, in order to grow, in order to apply some things that we couldn't apply in any other way, any other arena. How grateful I truly am for that part of myself which is willing to set up as that which is opposing, that which is appearing to attack. Again, it's all appearance. That gives me the chance to learn by application how to recognize that and stand in my power and grow it. How to grow my vibration. Thank you, Shadow. Thank you, Ego. Thank you for this challenge. Thank you for playing this role of other, of adversary, of opponent or opposite. Thank you for playing that role. I appreciate you. For helping me to learn how to stand my ground, how to stay rooted in the now, how to feel the fear and not follow it, to recognize a trick when I see it, how to see through illusion. That's what it's teaching me to do. Expand perspective and see through illusion. Raises the level of tolerance for sensation. Absolutely. And so, of course, as that level of tolerance for sensation increases, the level of sensation is going to increase, because that's how you do it, right? That's how you raise a tolerance level incrementally. You start with something that you're just going, it's like, this is as much as I can tolerate. I'm just here. Then you get acclimated to that. So that level of fear is not going to produce a response anymore. Easy peasy. I know how to block those punches. So now Ego, Shadow introduces something else, something a little more punchy, a little more kick to it, something you weren't quite expecting. And now the sensation is higher. It's above what the previous tolerance point was. Now we're stretching again. We're stretching our tolerance. And it's going to feel like it did the first time, because we're in a whole new level of this. And that's how it goes, and that's how we grow. I like that. That's good to know. I want to remember this. I want to remember this. Maybe I'll make a note. I don't usually watch any videos back again. They're one and done. This expression is out, it's complete, it's whatever the fuck it was. This one, I do want to remember, because this feels powerful and useful and applicable to me. Recognizing the role of ego and shadow in the growth of our energy, specifically how it injects fear, tries to get us to follow a thought, so that we have the opportunity to see that happening, to pay attention, to stand and feel the sensation and acclimate to that sensation. And also, not just to stand in our power, but to introduce levity, to recognize something is introducing density. How do I counteract the density? By making it less dense in my perception. By recognizing this density that you're trying to project on me is actually light. And so it can't bring me down. There's no weight to it. I have removed all of the power of this punch. Now it's just It's just. I like that. You were trying to convince me that you were going to hit me, and I realized by my perception you were just tickling me. And so that's all that happens. You can't punch me if I perceive that all you're doing is tickling me. It's not going to hurt. Your punch is just going to... Oh. That's it. That's powerful. Okay. I'm going to eat some dinner. See, this was far more... This was enlightening. Not following thought, but sitting in this experience and letting it flow through me. There was no thought followed here. This has all been organically realized from the observation of ego, from the observation of ego attempting to inject fear to get me to follow a thought in order to escape the sensation of fear, recognizing that that's happening, and just sitting in it. Sitting in the sensation. No thinking here. There has not been a single thought in this entire recording. Just observation, just awareness, and direct realization from that. That's powerful. That's profound. I like that. The only thoughts have been the thoughts that are trying to get me to follow them again. And just not. I'm staring at a little black square on the floor instead. And I am seeing that ego is very silly. Put it in a skirt, put it on roller skates. Draw a crazy mustache on it. Find a way to point and smile and laugh. Thank you for this opportunity, and feel grateful for the opportunity to do that. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna write those things down. And now I'm gonna go eat some food because I am hungry. And that's it. That's it. Have a beautiful, blessed evening. I love you.